Getting this specific player back on defense is huge for this defensive line. Okay. But what are we really expecting from him? We're about to talk about it all and this Wednesday injury report and the good things because the next few weeks are going to be very crucial for the Philadelphia Eagles. So let's get straight into it.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. If you haven't checked out BetUS, this video, it's sponsored by BetUS, so definitely check them out. Okay, now, you have a few more weeks left of the regular season. Whether it's first seed, second seed, whatever the case may be, the Eagles are still in a playoff game and most likely will be in that second seed, hosting a playoff game, and whatever happens, happens, okay, down the line of what's going on. Now, I kind of want to go over some light things here, but really get into the meat and potatoes of this video in a little bit, but obviously the Wednesday injury report is an interesting one here. So some small things, obviously a big rest day for the Eagles. So all the guys that you see on a rest day, a lot of them got that. Okay. A couple things here. Britton Covey, full practice, really good to see if, Britton Covey was a big part of this offense before the bye week, came back, got injured again. So he's been hurt a couple times this season, but looks like he will be back and probably be on those punt returns sooner than later. Sidney Brown got hurt in that first play on special teams with a concussion, still out with a concussion. So probably hasn't made the full protocol yet. Probably hasn't gotten through the full protocol yet. So probably Sidney Brown will not play this week. So obviously a big special teamer for the Philadelphia Eagles going forward. And that's where we're at with that. Now, getting through the meat and potatoes of everything, the Eagles put out a report yesterday that finally Bryce Huff is returning on the open practice window. So meaning Bryce Huff is back for the Philadelphia Eagles, but he does not count towards the active roster. Now, the open practice window, seeing where he's at, he hasn't practiced in a while. He hasn't had full pads on in a while, so he had that minor surgery. And that practice, we did see Bryce Huff with a cast on his left arm, okay, his left wrist. I'm sorry. So I don't know if this cast is going to come off in a week or two, where he can actually use both of his hands and his wrist. Hopefully, it gets stronger. He's going to have a weaker hand. Obviously, having a cast on is going to be limit. He's going to have limits to how he can grab people and stuff like that, which could definitely affect you as a defensive end in the National Football League, okay? But what are we really expecting from Bryce Huff? Now, Bryce Huff might not be on the active roster this week. It might take him another week. It's going to take him some time, okay? Fangio isn't just going to throw him in there just because, okay? Whoever deserves these reps is going to get these reps, okay? Bryce Huff, he has not lived up to the money that he is making at $17 million a year. He is not the Hassan Reddick replacement. I think this has been a really bad signing for the Eagles. Okay, two really bad signings for the Eagles. Obviously, this one, and obviously the Jahan Dotson trade, I think, is still really bad right now. Okay, but I'm taking the salary out of this. I think all of us need to embrace him coming back. And when he does, and when he's ready and prepared, he joins this three-man rotation. Okay, it won't be a three-man rotation anymore where Josh Sweat is having a quiet but very good year. Nolan Smith has really been playing well. And obviously, Jalix Hunt is starting to get more snaps. So it's taking him time to really play at a high level right now, but has been disruptive at times. Bryce Huff joining this group of guys now, it only says to me that don't think Bryce Huff is coming in and we need him to get 8 more sacks in a few games. We're looking for Bryce Huff to make that big play in a game, that he becomes the hero in a game by a big play that he does make, gets a sack, because really before the bye week, he wasn't doing much. He was falling flat on his space. He was in a 2-point stance, which you got him from a team where he was in a 4. The Eagles never used him. They never used him in a 4-point stance. Like, he has no get off. He has no explosiveness. Like, that was already the starting mistake of how they were using him. Okay. From a technique standpoint, post bye week, he looked a lot more explosive. His get off was a lot more faster, and he was starting to get pressures. We were throwing like comments at him, like after every game, we're like, he got a half a sack. Hey, he got a sack in this game. Hey, he had a couple pressures. Like, he did pretty good. But is he amounting to the replacement of Hassan Reddick? Is he amounting to what the Eagles are paying him for? 100%, 100% definitely not. But what I could say is let's throw the salary out of this. Let's just throw everything out of this because the Eagles are going through a really great thing right now and have high expectations. The ceiling is up there for the Eagles right now, playing at a high level, this defense playing at a high level. So Bryce Huff is joining a defensive line that's doing a fantastic job, and obviously a secondary that's playing really good behind it. I'm not expecting Bryce Huff to do much. So if he gives me like 15 to 20% in a rotation, I think this is going to be even better. Okay. And if Bryce Huff starts to get on a little bit of a hot streak and he starts to get pressures and maybe some magical shit happens with him, and I'm not expecting it, but maybe he actually does some good things, then great. But if he does very little where he gets some pressures and maybe his sack numbers aren't up there, I don't care. Like, I don't care at all. I don't care if he does the minimal. As long as he starts to produce, as long as he's getting pressures in the game, that's all that matters. Somebody else will make the play. Okay, so throw everything out. Don't expect Bryce. Next year is next year. Next offseason is next offseason. This year, all I'm focused on is him coming into this rotation, not expecting big things from him, but letting him produce in a rotation, a very little productive rotation. That's what I'm kind of looking at him as imagining he's not getting paid all this money, because we have more things to worry about. Really not much to worry about, but we have more things to worry about because we're worried about the rest of the regular season. The Eagles have to keep winning. And all Bryce Huff really has to do is just like get some pressure, like do very little in a rotation, because the defensive line is playing really good right now. And who knows, like I said, you could see a hot streak soon. You might not, but just give it time. Like I said, I don't think Bryce is worth anything the Eagles have paid him at all. But the flash is there. I see it. Okay, when he was playing post-bye, I was like, wow, it's there. But, like, it's got to be consistent game to game. And then he went out with this minor surgery, probably the smartest thing for him to do. And then you lost Brandon Graham, and we were kind of worrying a little bit more. But the defensive line and the players Fangio producing players, not hitting anybody at the trade deadline, really trusting Fangio and his positional coaches and really doing a good job here with this defensive line has been fantastic. So, like I said, this is where I'm at with Bryce Huff. Not expecting big things, but expecting him to be a good rotational player that's going to cause some damage for some offenses. And I hope that happens. And I really want him to succeed. I really want him to be successful. So that's what I'm really hoping with Bryce Huff. And what else I'm hoping for us as a group is that we celebrate the holiday season with some merch from the Philly Shakedown podcast. If you guys haven't checked out the hoodies, the t-shirts, all of that great stuff, definitely check that out. Crew neck sweatshirts, holiday season. If you order right now, they will send out as fast as possible. So definitely order up if you guys haven't. Link in the description for that. If you buy 2, you get 10% off. You buy 3, you get 15% off. You buy 4, you get 20% off. Buy 4 shirts for the price of 3. If you spend $150 or more for free shipping. So go buy your Philly Shakedown podcast merch if you guys have it. Appreciate it so much. Now, we had some offensive linemen that were going in and out of games. Landon Dickerson went out. Okay. Tyler Steen stayed in the game at left guard. Obviously, Mekhi Becton got out of the game, came back in. Lane Johnson came out. Fred Johnson came in, and then Lane Johnson came back later on. So what's going on with Landon Dickerson and this knee injury? He was supposed to have some testing, and apparently it's not that bad. Now, a lot of these offensive linemen had rest on Wednesday's practice. A lot of guys had rest. So Landon Dickerson definitely had a rest day, but he was passing a medicine ball back and forth. He was bending his knees all the way to the ground. He was sitting and throwing a medicine ball. I mean, I don't think this knee injury is bad at all because he was moving pretty nice at practice on Wednesday. So I'm not expecting him to be out another week. I don't know if he's playing Sunday, but if they don't need him, okay. I thought Tyler Steen had some issues in the beginning, very little issues in the beginning, and then kind of tightened up a little bit on that left side. So it was nice. It was really nice. Tyler Steen has been very good at both right guard and right side or the left side, whatever guard spot he is playing. He's been pretty good. He's been taking advantage of getting in when he can, as well as Fred Johnson at tackle and stuff like that, where we've seen him come in for some games for injuries when Mulatto was out, and obviously when Becton was out, Tyler Steen came in again. So Dickerson's injury doesn't seem bad. From the way he's moving, he's not just like standing up throwing a ball. Like, he was bending his knees. He was all going all the way to the ground with the ball. I mean, he seems pretty good. He seems pretty good. If the knee was really that bad, he wouldn't be doing any of this, especially at practice, but a big rest day. So thank God. Great. Fantastic. So if you don't get this first seed, and you're automatically going to get the second seed most likely, you got 2 weeks at the end of the year to really, if you want, you're going to rest some guys like crazy if that's what you really want to do and get ready for your home playoff game with the second seed. Okay, so that injury doesn't seem bad. Now, lastly, Devontae Smith. Okay, Devontae Smith, obviously, this is probably the most injury-ish type year he's had for the Eagles. Okay, he missed a couple games. The Eagles won a couple games without him. With the hamstring, he's had a hamstring issue all year. Seems that is okay now. Now he's dealing with a back injury, so he was very light. He had a rest day. He had a rest day as well, but he is still practicing. Okay, light practice for Devontae Smith, but a rest day. Probably will have a light practice the rest of this week. So we really have to monitor this. We really need Devontae Smith at the end of the year, obviously, but we need Devontae Smith for the playoffs. And I think the Eagles can win without him in the regular season, since obviously the end of your schedule is nothing crazy, nothing to shake a stick at when it comes to the Cowboys or the Giants and obviously the Dallas Cowboys the last couple games. Obviously, you have to win in Washington, which is a big game, mostly for the division. But he has, Devontae Smith, this is the year where he's actually got some injuries, had to miss a little bit of time and came back, and now dealing with some back spasms or something like that. So he's got some issue with his back right now. It's not major, but it's just something to monitor right now. So we'll see what happens later in the week with Devontae Smith. But other than that, guys, that's pretty much it with the news for the Philadelphia Eagles. Let me know what you guys think on Bryce Huff. Do you think Bryce Huff is, do you expect him to do just the bare minimum in a rotation, or do you think Bryce Huff could really turn it up? I'm actually really happy he's coming back, and I want him to play, and it's going to take him a while. He's missed a lot of time, so we'll see what happens with that. Let me know what you guys think on Land Dickerson on his injury, and let me know what you guys think about Devontae Smith. Can you afford not having Devontae Smith for the next couple weeks if they feel like resting him for maybe a week? Going into that Washington game or something like that? I guess we'll find out some of the news on some of these injuries. You guys let me know in the comment section below on all of that. But other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'll see you guys on the next one. Like, subscribe, all of that great stuff, and I will see you guys. Shakes, what up, follow side. Peace out, guys. Peace.